I wasn't sure what to expect from Romancing the Bride, but it's not too bad. I only watched this because Carrie Fisher's in it, but I rather enjoyed it, even the scenes without Carrie Fisher. This was released in 2005, written and directed by Kris Isacsson, and stars alongside Carrie Fisher. We have Laura Prepon as Melissa and Matt Cedeño as Carlos. And I apologise if I mispronounce any of those names. And Melissa wakes up one morning, and I have to say, this is the first scene. It gets to the point instantly. She wakes up finding that she's in bed next to this Mexican man, and it turns out they're married. But she's getting married, I think, tomorrow, or it's maybe even the day of her wedding, if I remember. And she's got no recollection of what happened. And throughout the course of the film, she has to piece together the bits of the puzzle. She handcuffs herself to Carlos quite a lot because she is demanding that he helps her to find out what's going on, even though he kind of remembers exactly what happened. And honestly, I feel like she didn't need to handcuff him because they're married, and he's actually really happy about the fact that they're married. So he's not going to run off. He's not going to abandon his new bride. So I'm not entirely sure why there was a need to be handcuffed. There were a few other things in this that didn't make a lot of sense, some inconsistencies, some aspects that were just either unnecessary or a little bit ludicrous or unbelievable. But when it comes to rom-coms, you have to take things with a pinch of salt, as rom-coms tend to be unbelievable in parts anyway. So that's just something that's worth bearing in mind. But it wasn't so bad that it hindered my enjoyment. And the big question, of course, is, will she get married to her intended groom, and can she get married, or is she legally married to Carlos? And I'm not going to answer that, of course, but I will say it's not completely predictable. There were things that happened that I hadn't expected, some of which were a little bit ludicrous, some of which were actually pretty well developed plot points that I thought played out quite well. So it was okay. I didn't mind it. I found it to be engaging enough. It's quite an easy watch. It's a little bit funny now and then, but I think for me, most of the comedy comes from Carrie Fisher. Her lines were just amazing and beautifully delivered, of course. She plays Melissa's mother, and she's just fantastic. She's this little ball of energy, and she's got a big attitude on her and a very blunt way of putting things, and I just thought she was fabulous. She's in it a really decent amount as well, so if, like me, you're interested in this because of Carrie Fisher, she's definitely in it a really pleasing amount. There are, times where films are being listed as a Carrie Fisher film and she's in it for like 5 minutes, but no, she's got a pretty good role in this. Definitely a decent film. Would I watch it again? Yes, for Carrie Fisher, but had she not been in it, I probably wouldn't watch it again. Not because it's bad, just because I think once is enough, and that's often the case with rom-coms, unless they're hysterically funny. But personally, I find that rom-coms are seldom side-splittingly funny. They're more warm and fuzzy and comforting. And I think this is what we get with Romancing the Bride. Definitely a pretty decent film. I would recommend watching it at least once, particularly if you're a Carrie Fisher fan. But even if not, I think there are things in this that are worth checking out.